You're watching Reason and Theology Live, a show dedicated to charitable discussions, debates, interviews, commentary, and analysis. And now, your host, Michael Lofton.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, and we're still continuing Christmas. Y'all know that. We're Catholics here, so I once again say Merry Christmas. I have a special announcement, some really good news and exciting stuff that's going on that I wanted to share for 2023 in January. You know, I started the channel January 17th of 2019. So we're almost at 4 years. In April of this year, I quit my full-time job so that I can do this full-time. And I have been blessed and enabled to do so because of all of you subscribers and also and especially the patrons who are supporting me on Patreon and also channel members here on YouTube. So I want to thank all of y'all subscribers, patrons, channel members. I really do appreciate it. You've been able to, or you've enabled me to do what I'm doing here. And I'm honestly very, very grateful and honored for that. And exciting news that I have for you. What is it? Well, a donor who is going to remain anonymous has funded me or given me the funds to have an aggressive marketing campaign for RNT beginning in January for an entire month. So for the entire month of January, I'm going to have a marketing team help grow this channel. And some of the ways in which they do it is going to be back end, but some of the more visible ways that they're going to do it is going to be through highlight clips and also YouTube shorts. Here, obviously on YouTube, the highlight clips and of course the shorts. You know, I imagine there's a great deal of people who don't have the time to watch an hour or two video of yours truly. So in order to reach a larger audience, it's helpful to have highlight clips that kind of gets straight to the point. And that's what the marketing team is going to do for us. So that's, I hope is going to help reach a larger audience with the content that I've been presenting on this channel, which I'm very excited about because there's frankly a lot of things that needs to get out there, a lot of things that needs to be disseminated, whether it is in reaching Protestants to help bring them to the faith or calling Eastern Orthodox to communion with the Holy See in the Catholic Church, or frankly, to give reason and hope to a lot of people who are already Catholic but are struggling with the current crisis in the church. There's a lot of confused voices out there. I talk to them every day. A lot of people contact me on a daily basis, very confused. They don't know what to do. Some of them are converts, others aren't, but they all have one thing in common. They have no idea how to make heads or tails of the present situation in the church. And I've had the opportunity and the blessing to be able to help some of these people make some sense of what's going on and strengthen their faith by the grace of God. So that's been possible because of patrons and this donor who's going to help me grow the channel for the month of January. That's also going to reach a lot of people who just aren't familiar with the content of this channel and maybe haven't heard that message of hope and calling people to reason. So I'm really excited about that. Now that's going to be for the month of January. Now on my own, I can't sustain this after the month of January, right? So if this is something that you are excited about and you're going to want to see happen after the month of January. I can continue to work with the marketing team, but I'm going to need your help for it. So, if this is something that you are interested in supporting and you believe this channel needs to reach more people, and also you've been blessed by the content of this channel, here's how I would like for you to support me so that I can fund this marketing campaign. I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see the Patreon account. See here. There we go. So what you'll do is you'll go to patreon.com/reason and theology, and it will take you to this homepage right here, and you'll see the various levels at which you could support me. You'll notice that I have them labeled by insider titles here. There's the distinctions status, since we're known for making a lot of distinctions here. There's the globe status and the ladder status. Some of y'all who have been around the channel for a while, y'all remember I used to have a globe in the background, and I also had a fake ladder for the bookshelf. And for some reason, those two items really caught on with a lot of people. So you'll see people referring to the globe and the ladder. So we have those. I have the Lofton is a problem status. There's been several people on YouTube who have dubbed me a problem. And I hope to, in love and in charity, continue to be a thorn in their side, calling them to Catholic communion, calling them to sanctity, calling them to be fair to others. There's of course the Barron funded status over here. That's going to be the based on the joke that I'm being funded by Bishop Barron and Opus Dei, of course. And then the nuance status, that's going to be the highest status there, since we're known for doing some nuancing here. But in each one of these, you can see various perks that are available. So at the $5 status, you can see one additional exclusive show. At the $10 status, you get that exclusive patron show in addition to written communication with your theological questions. For the $25 a month, you get an hour and a half RNT monthly Zoom meeting that we're having. For the $50 status, you get all of that in addition to merch, a choice between a t-shirt and a mug. For the next status, private 30-minute Zoom meeting on theological topics. And then the last tier there, you get to choose an apologetic video for me to respond to within reason. But yeah, you actually get to determine what I am going to respond to. Now, what I need in order to sustain the marketing campaign is at least 200 new patrons. So 200 new patrons. And if you can support me at any level, that is appreciated, and that is very helpful in continuing marketing. I ask that you consider supporting me at the $25 or higher status, and what you'll get for doing that right now as part of this marketing campaign. If you support me with $25 or higher, I'll also throw in an additional 15-minute Zoom meeting, so we can meet on Zoom and talk about, and of course it'll be one-on-one, and you can discuss with me any theological topic that you would like for 15 minutes. So that's again for the $25 status and higher, for those who are helping me with this campaign. Again, I need to get 200 or more to sustain this. So again, if this is something that you feel is worth contributing to, certainly consider it prayerfully. And as I've said before, and I'm going to continue to say it, those of y'all who have supported me thus far, thank you so much. You've really made this possible, and I truly do appreciate it. I see in the chat, why no cardboard book perks? That's funny. I should have added a tier in there where I was thinking maybe like a cardboard tier, cardboard status. But cardboard status sounds like something bad, It's like who wants to be cardboard status, right? So I didn't add that, but I don't know. But I figured the globe and the ladder, those would be good ones. Anyways, I'm looking through the chat here. Can we expect an RMT board game? I don't know what it would be. That would be an interesting thing to see, though. John L says we do a little nuancing. Yeah, a little bit around here, right? $3 tier is the cardboard status. That's great. Sean asks about a Vical status. Again, if you're not familiar with the channel very well, you're not going to catch some of these insider jokes. You got to go back and watch some of the previous shows to get them. Can we expect more debates in 2023? I would love that. I would love that. As far as moderating debates, that's much more feasible. I might take on a debate here or there, but I've been avoiding those because they take a lot of time to prepare for, and I just have too much on my plate already. So unless it were a debate thesis that I know I don't need a lot of time to prepare for, it's unlikely that I'm going to do the debate. However, I'd be happy to moderate some others because that doesn't take any additional time for me to do. Certainly open to it. Maybe if you can, Mauricio, if you can send me some, individuals and debate topics that you would like to see, I think I can make that happen. Okay, still desire YouTube subs or more through Patreon. So what I'm asking is people support me on Patreon. So again, patreon.com/reason and theology. Of course, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, most certainly. But support me if you're going to support me financially on Patreon. Now, there is an alternative option. If you don't want to go through Patreon, you could do a donation. And if you go to my website, it's reasonandtheology.com. We'll go to it together here. Let me pull it up. You'll simply go to, let me share my screen. reasonandtheology.com/donate. And there is a PayPal option on here that you could just click on. You'll just click on this link and you could do a one-time donation there if you don't prefer to do Patreon. And of course, if you're supporting me at one of the comparable levels on Patreon, I'm happy to give you the same perks, even if it's not through Patreon. Let's see. Looking through the chat here. Comedy hours need to return in 2023. I like it. I'm open to it. Do I have any convert or revert interviews lined up? I do, but not on the calendar yet. But I'm thinking of several in particular who told me they are going to do it, but we don't have a date yet, and I can't say who they are at the moment. But it's going to be good. So, yeah, there will be more, especially throughout the year 2023. That black Catholic chick I've seen interviewed on a few channels, and it reminded me of interviews with converts you did. Let's see. Is she doing interviews with converts? Is that what you're saying, VM? Maybe if you can clarify in the chat. Have I looked into locals? I'm certainly open to it. One of the things that I've been struggling with is trying to reduce things to one particular platform because I've already had multiple locations where people could support me. So opening up a third avenue right now is probably not the most desirable, but I'm open to considering it long term. But at the moment, I'm still using Patreon. Is the news that I'm finally coming out as a Jesuit. Father Brown, I see he's in the Father Brown SJ is in the chat. Father Brown, can you dub me a Jesuit? Is that does it work that way? If Father Brown can make me an honorary Jesuit, then yes, that's part of the news. Let's see. roundtables back in the day were excellent content, both the interviews and the topical. Yeah, I love the roundtables. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm certainly open to maybe arranging more of those in the upcoming year. Definitely. What are Patreon perks? So if you go to patreon.com/reason of theology, you'll see the various perks that I have on there for a person who supports me on Patreon. So it just kind of depends on like what level you're part of. But certainly check it out there and you'll see the various benefits per level. Let's see. Josh says repost. I believe Pavone is now Frank Pavone on both YouTube and Facebook. Well, interestingly enough, I saw Pavone comment earlier on the channel. Let me pull it up here. I was very, very happy to see that. Let me grab it here. Yeah, there we go. Let me share my screen so that you can see this. But this is a comment that he left earlier today on the video breaking Frank Pavone takes off the collar and does the right thing. He says, "Thank you for the kind words." Posted 6 hours ago, and I wrote back, "I'm praying for you and for a holy resolution to this situation. Thank you for your work as a priest and in the pro-life movement." Yeah, I hope to see a peaceful and holy resolution to this situation. I've already said if he was treated unjustly, going the Padre Pio route is still going to yield good results. And if he was treated justly, going the Padre Pio route will still yield good results. So either way, the Padre Pio way is the way to go. So I'm happy to see that he appealed to Padre Pio, has taken off the collar. I hope that he continues to do so. And so let's pray for him. Pray for a holy resolution to this situation. Pray that he continues to go the Padre Pio route. And let's, of course, be thankful to his ministry, both as a priest and in the pro-life movement. Something else I was going to say here. Let's see. Did R&T buy out Catholic Answers? I guess that's Thunder Thumbs is saying that might be part of the news. No, that's not the news. I am so grateful to Catholic Answers for allowing me to have worked with them this year. And I truly want to thank them for that. They gave me an opportunity to work with them from January to December, and I am so thankful for that. And y'all go, of course, subscribe to Catholic Answers if you haven't already. I imagine most of y'all are already subbed and, of course, familiar. But if you haven't heard of Catholic Answers before, they're an apostolate that has been helping people with answers for the Catholic faith, especially for non-Catholics who are considering the Catholic faith, but also for people who are already Catholics who want to learn more about their faith. They've been doing that for a very long time, I think since the 90s. And in fact, I am partly I'm a product of Catholic Answers myself, as I'm a convert from Protestantism, and a huge resource that helped me work through Protestantism and enter into the Catholic Church was Catholic Answers. So once again, certainly go and support them, and I'm truly grateful for them having allowed me to work alongside of them this year. And my book, I already submitted it to them, so I'm excited about that as well. That sometime in 2023, I would imagine we'll be publishing that book, and it's a book on Catholic responses and answers to Eastern Orthodox objections to Catholicism. And it's especially written for Catholics who are considering Eastern Orthodoxy, but it's also going to benefit Eastern Orthodox who are interested in Catholicism. So more to come on that. Let's see. Wonderful news. Congratulations on the book. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So we're now in the editing process. So um Talesman says, "What's the big announcement?" Yeah, well, maybe hit the rewind button and you'll see it. I went over it earlier. But thank you for tuning in. Can I explain how the ordinary and universal magisterium teaches something non-infallibly? Yeah, I guess that's related to a post that I made recently, right? Um, where Jay Dyer was mocking me and saying that that's gibberish, that I was referring to the ordinary and universal magisterium that could both teach definitively and non-definitively. It's certainly not gibberish. It's of course Dr. Richard Gaillardy, probably the most important theologian on the magisterium alive today. That's his position. He notes the same. So I mean, if we don't confuse the ordinary and universal magisterium as an act, but recognize it rather as a subject or a teaching authority, then it's no longer gibberish and it makes perfect sense. When we speak of the universal and ordinary magisterium, we're talking about a who. It's a who that is teaching, right? Whereas if we were referring to an act, it's a how it is being taught. A lot of people think that the ordinary and universal magisterium refers to a how. It means it's a definitive teaching. Whereas rather the ordinary and universal magisterium refers again to a who. It's a teaching subject. It's who does the teaching, but a who can teach both definitively or non-definitively. Um, so that is how, and much more on that. I mean, I again can refer you to Gaillardy or my own lectures on the magisterium. MaximusInstitute.com, Understanding the Magisterium. Um, I have a whole course on the magisterium, and I do go over the fact that the ordinary and universal magisterium can teach non-definitively, and I go into the reasoning behind it, and then how to identify when it teaches definitively versus non-definitively. Okay. Do I plan on having another conference for 2023? Yeah. Yeah. It might be in person, but of course, if it's in person, I'll also stream it on YouTube. But yeah, I'm open to it now. If it's going to be in person, I will have to fly people out, and in order to do that, I'm going to need support in funding it. But if there's not enough interest in funding that, I at the very least will probably do just an online conference where we meet virtually. Let's see here. Come to Texas, Michael. I do come to Texas often. Let's see. Could I do a video on the meaning of imagery of iconography? I think I did that one with Jonathan Pajot. He was on the show, and we talked about that. In person, come to New Orleans, Father Brown says. I'm open to New Orleans or Dallas. Those are both options. But either way, if it's going to be in person, I'm going to have to get funds to fly people out. So if that's something that y'all want to support, we can certainly look into it. An RT fans conference and retreat led by Father Brown. I like this. This is a good idea. Father Brown, we just volunteered you for another assignment. Let's see what Father Brown says. he'll probably just disappear from the channel for a few hours. Let's see if he stuck around for that one. Father Brown does say honorary Jesuit is an oxymoron. That's funny. That's Brunts. Honorary Jesuit Lofton. Well, I guess Father didn't make me an honorary one. I don't see it in the chat where he dubs me an honorary Jesuit. He said it'd be awesome. Let's do it. Okay, well, you know what? There might be some options here for Father to lead us into a retreat, a spiritual pilgrimage We can all go to New Orleans. I like that. It's a good idea. Let's see. Have you been hitting the gym? I have been. I have been. Yep. 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 Eating healthier and hitting the gym. So he says you're giving off bouncer vibes. I get that a lot. I get that a lot. Not so much on camera, but more in person. Um, let's see. What is this? If you become popular enough, you could make a movie just like Angry Video Game Nerd did. The plot could be a fighting KJV only nuanced destroyer with a relic of the subtle doctor. I have no idea what we're talking about. I don't know who this nerd is. Angry Video Game Nerd? I'm lost. Super heavy booster, looking good, Michael. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gym and theology. That's great. Gym and theology. Yeah. We need Pat Flynn for that. That's his expertise. That's what he does. He does apologetics and he does fitness. So we would need Pat Flynn on as a guest for that episode. Yeah. Well, did I grab everything? VM says, can it be in Europe? I need an excuse to move out of the British Isles. Maybe Europe. I'd actually like to go to Rome sometime soon. So maybe we should do it in Rome. What else we got in the chat? Can the ordinary and universal magisterium teach error on faith and morals? Great question. So the ordinary and universal magisterium is a universal organ. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to check out the video I just posted a couple days ago on Can the Church Teach Heresy? Go and watch that. That's going to answer your question. Opinion on Rod Dreher. You know, I haven't read any of his books or looked into him enough to really comment on him fairly. I know a few things about him, but like I said, I don't know enough about him to evaluate him or comment on him fairly. So I mean, I'll hold my thoughts until I'm more informed on Rod Dreher. Favorite aspect of Western spirituality as opposed to Eastern? I'm not sure what you mean by favorite aspect as opposed to Eastern. Some might take this the wrong way, but I actually think it's a positive. In the Western tradition, things tend to be more brief and more accessible. I mean, just compare the breviary to the Liturgy of the Hours in the Eastern tradition. Both are rich, but the Western tradition is much more accessible and brief. That's why sometimes you'll see Eastern Christians using the Roman breviary. It's so much easier, especially when you're doing it privately, compared to the Liturgy of the Hours in the Eastern tradition. So there's something to be said about simplicity, and I'm not talking about simplistic, but being brief and simple. That's always been the Roman tradition compared to the other liturgies. And I think that there's some advantages there. There's something to be said about that. I don't see that as necessarily a bad thing. Now, it's also not a bad thing to have something more elaborate. Sure. Advantages and disadvantages to both. I see something going on in the chat about Matt Slick. That's a name I haven't heard in quite a long time. Michael, have you weighed in on private revelation? Have you heard of the ecclesiastical approved true life and God message of Fasula Ryden? She is a Greek Orthodox and Jesus is pleading for unity. It's not that name's not ringing a bell. And what do you mean? Have I weighed in on private revelation just as far as in general? Much can be said here, but I'm very hesitant to put a lot of stock into private revelation because what I see is people doing that more than focusing on public revelation. And I think that we need to get public revelation down before we start to look into private revelations, because private revelations are there to explain and apply in our own day and age public revelation. So if all we're doing is focusing on private revelation and we don't really know public revelation, i.e., sacred scripture, then it defeats the purpose of the private revelation. So, yeah, much can be said there. That being said, I mean, I'm obviously not opposed to it overall because the Catholic Church allows for and recognizes certain private revelations. Gotta go, but congrats, Michael. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. If you're doing a conference, you have to do it in a place where you have good local connections, and even then, it is really hard. True. Very true. Certainly can't be here in West Monroe. Not a whole lot of connections here in the West Monroe area for Catholics, at least. So, now, if I were a Baptist and I were a Baptist YouTuber, man, I would be in the Mecca of Baptist land. I mean, or Pentecostal, and have all kinds of connections. We could be doing all kinds of conferences, or even Presbyterian. Y'all know, the Federal Vision started here on my street, right here. The Federal Vision controversy, the Federal Vision controversy in the Presbyterian denomination started on my street, right here, right down the road. And they were having conferences there annually, and the controversy began in 2002 at Auburn Avenue Presbyterian Church. And yeah, so you could see, like, even being Presbyterian, you could have all kinds of conferences and everything going on. For Catholics, I don't know, it's a little bit more difficult because I think most of the Catholics in Louisiana are in South Louisiana. I'm in Northeast Louisiana. So Kevin Simmons has done good videos on RNT about private revelation. This is true. We have a whole Our Lady of Fatima playlist. Sure do. Okay. VM says, just a comment, I've been going through your Chris Date debates, which have been helpful in understanding the basis for sacred tradition and the magisterium. Thank you. Appreciate that. Michael is going to be a full-time staff apologist at Catholic Answers. No, that's not the news. Unfortunately, I'm in Monroe, Louisiana, and so I can't relocate to California. That would be a dream job, though. But no, I can't relocate to California at this time. So that's unfortunately not in the cards. So everything that I do has to be remotely from Monroe, Louisiana. But wow, yeah, that would have been an amazing thing. Let's see. Michael Lofton is going to reveal Michael Lofton once and for all. Only whenever I have the cardboard version of myself do an RNT show will you actually see a reveal of Michael Lofton. Again, you got to be a fan of the show to know what's going on here with all this. These are inside jokes for those who have been subscribed for a while. Why would Catholic Answers want to be based in California? I don't know. I mean, I think that there's probably some good strategic advantages for it being in California. I don't know what the rationale is behind it, but I imagine there's some good strategic advantages for California. So, but I also know a lot of people are saying, no, get out of California. I get that too. Believe me, I get that. Let's see. Will you animate lip flaps on the cardboard, Michael? That's funny. No, I was literally just going to have the cardboard sit here and it wasn't going to move. And I was just going to be off camera with a microphone off camera. And I was going to do an entire show with cardboard loft in. So, have I read Russia and the Universal Church? Yeah, I have a copy. It's on the reading list, but it's like I got a million other things that I'm still reading. So I'll get to it ASAP. I promise. Part of the reason why I'm needing this help, in addition to marketing, is it will take some pressure off of me from doing all of the back end stuff so that I can focus more on preparing and producing content. It's hard to read books whenever I'm doing all of the stuff on the back end of the channel as well. But if I can start to assemble a team who can start to work on some of these things on the back end, I can focus more on producing content and preparing to produce content, which would include researching more. So that all goes into it. So again, support me, patreon.com/reason and theology. It all helps to strategically put me in that position to where I can start preparing for producing more content. Let's see. Good to see you, Michael. Glad we survived the cold. It was cold. I saw a politician with his hands in his own pocket. That's funny. That's a good. In his own pocket, as opposed to in others. That's good. Powers has a new album coming out. In fact, we're going to have next week a show talking about that on Thursday. So y'all stay tuned for that. Well, I'll tell you what, if y'all want, I can stick around to do maybe 30 more minutes of Q&A. So if you have questions for me, go ahead and put them in the chat. Make sure to put them to @Reason and Theology. I'm going to step away, grab me a refill on my coffee, and we will continue here in just a second. Merry Christmas, everybody. You know, I started this channel in January of 2019. So I've been doing this show for roughly 4 years. And in the month of April, I was fortunate enough to be able to do the show full-time instead of part-time. So I transitioned to a full-time show in the month of April, thanks to all of the subscribers, the patrons, and the channel members. So I want to personally thank y'all for making that possible. So I have some exciting news for the month of January here in 2023. I was fortunate enough to have a donor bless me with the funds for 1 month to hire a marketing team to help this channel grow. Now, this marketing team is going to grab some select highlight clips and YouTube shorts, and that will help reach a larger audience because, frankly, most people don't have the time to watch an hour or 2 hour video by yours truly. So, doing highlight clips and YouTube shorts, that's much more likely to reach a newer audience and help this channel grow. Now, this donor has paid for me to do this for a month. However, if you like what this channel is doing and you want to see it continue to grow, and you think I'm producing good content that really needs to reach people, perhaps you think that I'm helping Eastern Orthodox come into communion with the Catholic Church, or helping Protestants see their need for communion with the Catholic Church, or perhaps you think that I'm helping bring some reason to Catholics who are already in the church but are struggling with the present crisis. Perhaps you think that that needs to reach a new audience and will help bring some hope and reason to various people. If you do, and if you have benefited from this channel, I ask that you would consider supporting me on Patreon. It's going to be patreon.com/reason and theology. You'll go straight there and you'll see various plans that you can support me at and also get additional content and benefits. I am going to need your support if you would like to see this channel grow continuing after the month of January. If you would like to see me continue to aggressively market this channel and reach new people, please consider supporting me. Patreon.com/reason and theology. theology. If you think this content has benefited souls, whether they are Catholics, Orthodox, or Protestants, certainly check out one of those plans there. You'll also, of course, get access to extra content. And for those who sign up at the $25 level, I will call you on Zoom and we'll have a personal conversation together, and we'll just chat about whatever you would like. And so that will be one additional benefit that comes with supporting me at that level. But once again, if I can get at least 200 patrons to sign up and support me, I can continue to grow this channel after the month of January with a continued strategy in marketing. So certainly consider supporting me, patreon.com/reason and theology, if you feel that I'm producing content that needs to reach a new audience with a message of hope for people who are confused in this time of crisis within the Catholic Church, and also to reach a non-Catholic audience to tell them of their need to join in the one church of Christ that is the Catholic Church. All right, thank you for considering this, and I covet your prayers. God bless. All right, we're back. VM says Michael moonlights as a bouncer. Simi confirmed. That's funny. That is good. Enoch was straight fired. Jate says, "Yep." Is it possible for the clergy to be forced to pretend a person is Pope who wasn't even elected, and all the laity believe it? Say the Pope was baptized but not ordained. Would universal and peaceful acceptance make him automatically ordained by God? So I guess if, like, somehow one were to force all the clergy to accept somebody as Pope who wasn't actually Pope and is not ordained, would they, by the concept of universal and peaceful acceptance on part of the church as a whole, would they be automatically ordained by God? They would be considered Pope, but they would not be considered automatically ordained. No. Ordination has to happen through the sacraments. So one who is elevated to the papacy who has not yet been ordained is entitled to be immediately ordained per canon law. So this person would actually be Pope, but not yet a bishop. So they would be entitled to be ordained. But you're saying this would happen secretly. So how would people know to ordain him if, they already presume he was ordained? Well, I think that's certainly a problem, and I don't think God in His providence would ever allow such a thing. It would be absurd. I think that it would kind of defeat the whole purpose of what He is doing with the papacy to allow a scenario like this. So I just don't see that happening in God's providence. Okay. What does it cost to market a channel like RNT for a month asking for a friend? That's funny. Believe it or not, it's actually very expensive, which I was surprised when I first started looking into different marketing companies to help promote the channel. I was shocked. I was like, man, the saying, I'm in the wrong business. It's a lot. But then again, on the other hand, it's also a lot of work. So, it makes sense. Why did the church change its position on the death penalty? Well, I certainly have 2 videos where you can watch those where I go into more depth on the topic, but I think that there's 2 changes here. Number 1, a prudential decision, which would be the application of the death penalty in today's society. I do think that has changed, the application. And then number 2, what has also changed is a deeper understanding of the dignity of the human person. That, however, doesn't mean that the teaching on the death penalty has changed. So what has changed is a deeper appreciation for the dignity of the human person. That does not mean that the teaching on death penalty has changed. And what has also changed is an application of the death penalty in today's society in light of a deeper appreciation of human dignity. That also doesn't change the teaching on the death penalty. That changes how we apply it in today's society. So maybe go and watch the 2 videos that I did on the death penalty where I tease that out in further detail. Have I been doing this full time? I have been since April. By the grace of God and also the um, benefactors here, the patrons, thank y'all so much for that. I've been able to do it full time since April. But if you want to see me continue to not only do this full time, but to aggressively promote the channel, I'm going to need help. I'm going to need marketing because I can't do it by myself. I'm stretched too thin already. So I'm going to need to hire others to do that. So again, check me out, patreon.com/reason and theology if you want to see that happen. And shout out to the donor who, again, wants to remain anonymous, but the donor who has funded me for the month of January to start this marketing campaign. And thank you so much to you. And of course, I ask that y'all pray for this individual. Okay. What else we got? I think Jimmy is going to be a good dialogue partner for the Partum side. He's a great dialogue partner on any topic, but that one too. I have had a conversation with Jimmy on the topic. He's a great dialogue partner. Thank you, Johan. He says, hi, Michael. I'm one of your followers in France. I love what you do. I wish you a lot of success. God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support, for your prayers. Wesley says, I'm late. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah. Again, I ask that y'all pray for the donor who makes this possible. It's truly a blessing. Very excited about that. Let's see. Why do you think Kennedy Hall's podcast has higher views? He doesn't have anything that's good as far as marketing. I think that what's going on is whenever you have the kind of message that he is promoting, that's going to get more clicks. That's going to get more attention. The more you talk about scandal, the more you talk about church gossip, and especially from the angle that they tend to do, not from the angle of talking people off the ledge and bringing reason into perspective, but from the angle of fear mongering, hyping people up, getting them amped up about, about the situation in the church. That's going to have more appeal. Why is it that videos that promote money, sex, and drugs and stuff like that get higher clicks than maybe something that promotes chastity or restraint? We know why. Those things tend to be more appealing, especially to people who are driven by the flesh. Likewise, within the church, those who are promoting a spiritually comparable message that promotes a fleshly audience, that's going to appeal to them. So, in other words, if you want to be a really successful YouTuber today, go and talk all about church gossip and bash the Pope and bash the hierarchy and promote recognize and resist. That will make your channel blow up. However, I think that there's some moral problems with that, so obviously I'm not recommending that to anyone. But from a purely numbers perspective, go and do that. But again, if we're going to be that pragmatic, purely numbers, why are you even doing Christian content? Like, there's plenty of non-Christian and secular content to do to get numbers. So obviously, some of the people who are doing these videos, it's not just about numbers for them. They do have a message that they believe needs to be promoted. But I would just still say that it's the wrong message. Okay. Thanks. And is Vatican II being non-infallible free from error? Mhm. Definitely go and watch the video I just did on Can the Church Teach Heresy? And I discuss on Can the Church Teach Error? And then Can the Church Teach Heresy? Certainly check that out. Um, can someone change his Roman rite to an Eastern rite just to potentially become a married priest? Someone could, but I'm not sure that that's really a good reason for doing so. Um, and usually, whenever they are considering you as a person who's applying to change your rite, they're looking for, are you just doing this so that you can become a married priest? Is that what you're doing here? They're kind of looking to see if that's going to be the case. And I can't say that they're going to automatically decline it, but as I understand, that's not necessarily seen in a favorable way. So one may need to have better reasons than I just simply want to be a priest, though I'm married. um, okay. Mm, What else we got in the chat? Wesley says, "Be right back, setting up a scandal channel." Now's the time for it, right? I mean, there's plenty of content to talk about from a perspective of bashing the hierarchy. There's plenty of content. And there's plenty of people who are ready to give you clicks and money. Plenty of people. Um, I just say at the end of the day, but look at what it's doing. It's making people lose faith in the church that Christ established. I mean, it's driving people away from the church. It's leaving them in a place of despair. It's not giving hope. And also, some of it is just inaccurate. It's just not true. And like I said, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is not a solution to the crisis, but just simply an aggravation of it, adding more to the problem rather than fixing it. If you think that I have anything to offer here on this channel, that I have been offering content to address the current crisis from a way that doesn't add to the problem, but helps solve it, again, consider supporting me. Um, how can we deal with friends that are obstinately persistent in the rat trap position? Continue to be available to them. I think that continuing the friendship and being available to them is going to help because eventually they're going to burn out from that position. It's not a long-term position that someone can maintain. It can't be sustained for a very long period of time. You burn out from that, um, and then you start to look elsewhere. So you want to still be friends and accessible to that person so that when they come to that position that they're burnt out on the rad trad position, they have somebody that they can talk to give them an alternative solution. Um, One thing I've noticed with the rad trad position, number one, this is not a sustainable position long term. This recognize and resist position. And I know that not all rad trads are recognize and resist. You got some others who would say Pope Francis isn't even the Pope. They're beneficantists, or you have sedevacantists. And then you have those who would say Pope Francis is the Pope. We recognize him, but we resist him. And you have various shades and degrees there as well. But one thing that they all have in common is they resist and dissent against lawful authority. And one thing I've noticed about them is it's not a sustainable position for very long. And then also that group tends to turn on each other. They devour their own. So people are going to pick up on that. They're going to see that this group devours its own. And when people pick up on that and they see that, they're going to start looking elsewhere. So definitely be available. Let's see. Favorite devotion and why? I like Vespers. I like the Typica, and also the Jesus Prayer. Um, why? I think they are rich, um, and certainly speaks to me in a way that um, does more than maybe some of the other devotions. Not that there's anything wrong with them. But that's entirely a subjective answer. Did I watch Tom Cruise's latest stunt for the upcoming Mission Impossible 7? There's this Mission Impossible 7? What? Seriously? And no, I did not. I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you think it's realistic that the liturgy will go back to Ad Orientem? It's a change I would readily welcome. I agree. If there's like, if you said like there's only one thing that you can do to alter the Roman rite right now, what would you do? I would say Ad Orientem. Change that. Let's just start there, please. And yeah, do I think it's realistic? I think over a long period of time, yes. I don't think it's going to happen right away. I think over a long period of time, yes. It was good to see you on Jimmy Akin's Christmas stream. Yeah, I dropped in for a second. Do you believe Dr. Marshall actually believes what he says, since it leads to either Sedevacantism, Benedictism, or Eastern Orthodoxy, or is he just doing it for views? He's intelligent enough to know. I hate to speculate about people's intentions and things like that. If I had to guess, I think he does believe what he's saying. I do think that he's a man of conviction. So I think he believes what he's doing is right. You know, I haven't seen anything that would make me question that. I think he's a man of conviction. He believes what he's saying is right and is helpful. I would just question whether or not that's actually the case. But whether he thinks that what he's doing is right, I give him the benefit of the doubt that he believes it is. If he was just doing it for views, I think he's in the wrong business. There's plenty of secular things one could be doing to make way more money with clicks and views. So one who's going to be on YouTube doing something Christian, you know, already there has to be some commitment to ideals. So again, I give him the benefit of the doubt. But let's try to avoid like questioning people's motives and stuff like that. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying let's avoid that. Let's just focus on, okay, but the message itself, is that helpful? Is that true? And I'm going to say in some cases what he says is right. In some cases it's not right. And in some cases it's helpful. In some cases it's not helpful. Let's keep it there though. Pop says, really, Michael? Really happy, Michael, that I found your channel. Being a reasonable voice, I often listen and think that's exactly what I'm thinking in my heart. God bless you. God loves the peacemakers. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Would claiming to be a traditional Catholic cover like from the beginning of the Catholic Church up to the present day? I don't know if I'm understanding the question there. Okay. Difference between excommunication and being laicized. Yeah, laicized means that, I mean, ontologically, you're always a priest, but you're just no longer entitled to the privileges and the authority of a priest. So you don't hold office as a priest anywhere, and you don't have the privileges of presenting yourself, whether in attire or in your title, you know, in your name. You don't go by Father so-and-so anymore. Whereas excommunication is you're actually cut off formally from the visible bounds of the church, so you're not allowed to receive communion. Okay. Although Francis did not cancel Mother Angelica of EWTN, do you think he would cancel her if she were alive today? Joking, who is the most influential philosopher, school of philosophy on your thought? Um, as far as the Mother Angelica thing, he specifically called her or said that she is in heaven. So he has publicly said Mother Angelica is in heaven. Seems that he's thinks favorably about her when he says she's in heaven. So I don't think he would cancel her. I also don't think that she would be on the side of recognize and resist today. I think that all of the people who are doing the recognize and resist and doing the benevacantism route or putting into question Pope Francis or slandering him, I think she would rebuke those people. But at the very least, I don't think he would cancel her, given that he thinks that she's in heaven. He says, I know I was poking fun at another YouTuber. Yeah, I know. I get it. I just point that out because that other YouTuber probably won't point out that Pope Francis said that she's in heaven. Why is it that that other YouTuber doesn't say that? Well, it goes against that person's narrative. Who's the most influential philosopher on your thought? As far as philosophy, probably Aristotle. Would he canonize Mother Angelica? I mean, if he thinks that she's in heaven, I don't see why he would be opposed to that. Um, Random question, but what is the level of teaching on the falsity of reincarnation? Directly contradicts it, or Hebrews 9:27 directly contradicts it, but has it ever been defined or dogmatized? So you don't have to have it defined to be a dogma. It could be an undefined dogma. A dogma means it's in sacred revelation. Now, sometimes we refer to defined dogmas as something that's not only in sacred revelation, but has been defined by the church. But those are defined dogmas. You also have undefined dogmas, such as Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus as the Messiah or is the Messiah is an undefined dogma. There have been no solemn dogmatizations that Jesus is the Messiah. You know why? Because there doesn't need to be any, since scripture is very clear on that. So it's an undefined dogma, but nobody can put that into question since scripture is so clear on it. Likewise, I would say the same thing about reincarnation. Scripture is very clear on the falsity of reincarnation. Therefore, it is fine to keep it as an undefined dogma. There's no need to define it. So I don't think anybody could question, Hebrews 9 on that matter. Okay. Thanks for the response. Saved me from sedevacantism. Thank you. I'm glad it has helped, and I ask that you pay it forward and help share the content with others, so that you can also help people who are confused, who are leaning in that direction. He clarifies my channel has helped him from sedevacantism. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And like I said, pay it forward, help other people become more aware of the channel, so that they can also steer clear of that. Thank you for the super chat, Ramses. Just for fun, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Jimmy. How would you say Ad Orientem Mass at the North Pole? Jimmy just said you would face south towards Jerusalem. But what do you think? I like that because, aside from the principle of facing east to face Jerusalem, well, it wasn't actually just facing east to face Jerusalem that was the rationale for Ad Orientem. Facing east first and foremost is because of the fact that Jesus is going to return from the east, and so we face that way. But you also do have a tradition of praying towards Jerusalem. So I think that, yeah, if you were at the North Pole, I like his answer. Face Jerusalem at that point. But how many of us are at the North Pole saying mass? How can we best understand the current situation with ecumenism, Assisi, and the like? Well, I think that Assisi of 86 and subsequent versions of Assisi can be rightly criticized as incredibly imprudent and in appearance scandalous, scandalous in appearance. I think that we can say that. But I wouldn't say that those are proper acts of ecumenism. I would say that the intention was to conduct ecumenism, but in execution and also in appearance, I think that transgresses the whole purpose of ecumenism as understood by the church. Ecumenism as understood by the church is not, let's all just get together and pretend everything's okay and we're all going to heaven. That's not ecumenism. And I don't think that was the intention of John Paul II. So I don't think his intentions were to do that. I think his intentions were to keep the proper understanding of ecumenism, which is to help dialogue with others who are non-Christians for the sake of drawing them closer to the faith. That's the end goal, is bring them to the faith. But rather than just harping on the negative, we can focus on some positive things for the sake of drawing them closer. That's eventually going to include conversations about our disagreements. And then a call to embrace the Church of Christ. Now, again, I think that was the intention of John Paul II, but in execution and in appearance, I don't think that came across very well. Okay. Aren't I supposed to be live in 8 minutes? Are you referring to my Catholic Answer show? I think you're referring to my Catholic Answer show. Yes, that was pre-recorded. So, but I am heading out here in a second anyway, though. All right. Maybe last question here. What's more logically consistent, Sedevacantism or SSPX? More logically consistent? I think maybe Sedevacantism, but I don't put Sedevacantism and logic in the same category. And I don't mean to be insulting, but I just don't. It's not a very logical position. But if you're just asking me which is more logical, Sedevacantism, but neither are very logical. Let's go with neither. Okay. I need a neither option in there. Let's see. Does Santa say mass for the elves? That's great. Let's see. Denise. Oh, I see you there in the chat there, Denise. Your radio and VHP friend. New residents in Ohio. Oh, so you're in Ohio now. Okay. Looking for a church, but concerns if a priest happens to get political that I may not return the following Sunday. What is your advice? Yeah. I doubt very seriously a priest is going to get political. They tend to shy away from talking about those things, for better or worse. They tend to not speak so much about like names and groups, but rather principles, and let you make your decision from there. However, I don't know if I would prioritize that as the main reason for going to mass. Like, I don't think that would be a deal breaker, whether or not they spoke on a particular political issue explicitly. I would put the priority on, I want to fulfill my obligation for Sunday worship because I love God. And then number 2, I want to participate in his sacraments. And if there's an option where I can do that, in the most desirable way, sure, I'll look for those options. But I don't know if I would let that be a deal breaker, because I just think that there's higher priorities than, I've seen priests say things that they shouldn't say during homilies and do things they shouldn't do during the liturgy. But I'm not going to let that be a deal breaker for, am I going to worship God on Sunday and participate in his sacraments? Good to hear from you. Glad to hear that you're doing well. And I pray God's blessings on you over there in Ohio, and certainly keep in touch, Denise. Good to see you. Represent Ohioans, Justin says. That's great. Philip says, if you're in Cincinnati area, check out St. Anthony of Padua Maronite Catholic Church, or if you're closer to Dayton, there's St. Elias Maronite Church. Yeah, the Maronites are awesome. We had a Maronite liturgy over here in the chapel a few months ago. It was pretty cool. Does Santa leave coal in your stocking if you play guitar at mass? That's funny. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of guitars at mass. Just, I don't know. Guitars don't go well with the Roman Rite, in my opinion. Um, I don't know. That's my opinion, though. It doesn't seem to be very fitting for the Roman Rite. When the magisterium non-definitively binds something on earth, is it bound in heaven as well, or is that only for definitive teachings? Yeah, great question. So, um, as far as the exercise of the keys in my recollection, what is being bound here, I would locate that to definitive teachings, but I'm open to seeing an argument that that also applies to non-definitive teachings. I certainly know that the authority for non-definitive teachings is backed, but um, but if that's all we mean by being bound in heaven is that it's backed in authority, that's one thing. But if we mean by being backed in authority that like heaven embraces that proposition of the teaching, then I think it has to be limited to definitive teachings only. So it depends on what we mean by binding here. But I'm certainly open to more on that, and I'll give it further thought. That would also be a really good question for Swansona, by the way. Okay. Wesley says almost all the parishes have them where I am. I've been to some guitar masses before in the Roman Rite, and like I said, I don't think it's very fitting. That's my opinion. It's not a deal breaker, but I don't think it's fitting. I think that there's other kinds of music that are much more suitable for the Roman Rite. Pop says, thank you, Michael. Love all the effort you put in and how available you make yourself. It can't be easy. That's true. I'm so glad there's alternate rational voice among some of the more indie times stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean. And thank you. I appreciate the kind words. All right. Well, that's going to do it. I appreciate y'all watching. Help share this content. And like I said, lastly, check me out, patreon.com/reason and theology if you want to help me continue this marketing campaign after the month of January. So again, check me out there. And I'm looking for minimum 200 patrons for me to continue to sustain the marketing campaign after January. So if you're just now tuning in and you're not familiar with that announcement, just go back, hit the rewind button, and it should you'll see it there at the beginning because I do go over it there. So certainly check that out. All righty. I will see y'all later. God bless. Merry Christmas, everybody. You know, I started this channel in January of 2019. So I've been doing this show for roughly 4 years. And in the month of April, I was fortunate enough to be able to do the show full-time instead of part-time. So I transitioned to a full-time show in the month of April thanks to all of the subscribers, the patrons, and the channel members. So I want to personally thank y'all for making that possible. So I have some exciting news for the month of January here in 2023. I was fortunate enough to have a donor bless me with the funds for 1 month to hire a marketing team to help this channel grow. Now, this marketing team is going to grab some select highlight clips and YouTube shorts, and that will help reach a larger audience because, frankly, most people don't have the time to watch an hour or 2 hour video by yours truly. So, doing highlight clips and YouTube shorts, that's much more likely to reach a newer audience and help this channel grow. Now, this donor has paid for me to do this for a month. However, if you like what this channel is doing and you want to see it continue to grow and you think I'm producing good content that really needs to reach people, perhaps you think that I'm helping Eastern Orthodox come into communion with the Catholic Church, or helping Protestants see their need for communion with the Catholic Church, or perhaps you think that I'm helping bring some reason to Catholics who are already in the church but are struggling with the present crisis. Perhaps you think that that needs to reach a new audience and will help bring some hope and reason to various people. If you do, and if you have benefited from this channel, I ask that you would consider supporting me on Patreon. It's going to be patreon.com patreon.com/reason and theology. You'll go straight there and you'll see various plans that you can support me at and also get additional content and benefits. I am going to need your support if you would like to see this channel grow continuing after the month of January. If you would like to see me continue to aggressively market this channel and reach new people, please consider supporting me. Patreon.com/reason and theology. If you think this content has benefited souls, whether they are Catholics, Orthodox, or Protestants, certainly check out one of those plans there. You'll also, of course, get access to extra content. And for those who sign up at the $25 level, I will call you on Zoom and we'll have a personal conversation together, or we'll just chat about whatever you would like. And so that will be one additional benefit that comes with supporting me at that level. But once again, if I can get at least 200 patrons to sign up and support me, I can continue to grow this channel after the month of January with a continued strategy in marketing. So certainly consider supporting me. Patreon.com/reason and theology if you feel that I'm producing content that needs to reach a new audience with a message of hope for people who are confused in this time of crisis within the Catholic Church, and also to reach a non-Catholic audience to tell them of their need to join in the one church of Christ that is the Catholic Church. All right, thank you for considering this, and I covet your prayers. God bless.
Are you confused about how Catholic teaching authority works? With encyclicals, papal bulls, councils, and many other things, it's easy to get confused on what is authoritative and what is not. Fortunately, at MaximusInstitute.com, I have prepared a course explaining the magisterium from A to Z. Visit the website and check out the course Understanding the Magisterium for more information.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, office, or any kind of property anywhere in the world, you're going to want to call Real Estate for Life, and they're going to connect you with a Catholic agent. Now, that agent will donate a portion of their commission upon sale, and Real Estate for Life will donate 75% of that gift to a pro-life organization at no cost to you. Call Real Estate for Life at 1-877-LIFE-US1 or text them 248-431-1440. If you care about the pro-life cause, call them now.